Less than 2 weeks from SEC football media days, and we're certainly not short on football talk. Tonight, we'll hear from Kirby Smart on his future in Tuscaloosa, plus some hoops. Anthony Grant talks transfers. All that and more right now, only on Tider Insider TV.
Go inside the Crimson Tide. Tider Insider TV with Rodney Orr and Carrie Harris.
With the spring sports season complete, the final standings in the Learfield Directors' Cup were announced. Thanks to national titles in men's golf and women's doubles tennis, Alabama finished 17th in the country in the Learfield Cup. That's the school's highest finish since 1994-95. Good evening, everybody, and welcome into Tider Insider TV. Alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com, I'm Gary Harris. Our program presented every week by Buffalo Rock. Tonight, I hope it's not too cold. I put it in the freezer for a little bit. I was worried about it. Yeah, it's okay. I got a little ice in mine. Ice cold Diet Pepsi. As long as it didn't get all over the set, we're okay. Oh, that's good. Remember, pick up your favorite Pepsi products the next time you're at your local grocery store from Buffalo Rock. Well, Rodney, a lot of football discussion tonight, and we begin with Alabama defensive coordinator Kirby Smart doing a rare radio interview. The defensive coordinator jumped on 680 The Fan in Atlanta this week to discuss several topics, one of them his future in Tuscaloosa. He's been the hot assistant coach for several years now, but he says he's content right where he's at.
My family's so happy in Tuscaloosa. My wife loves it. We got 6-year-old twins and a 2-year-old. We've been very fortunate. I moved 7 times the first 7 years I coached. The last, I guess, 8, going on 8, I've been in the same place. And my kids only know in one place. So for us, that's very comfortable. I could finish my career being a defensive coordinator and say, hey, he's Mickey Andrews, and I'd be happy knowing that I had success doing it and I was the best I could be at my job. But if the opportunity knocks, then so be it. I obviously want that. And there may be a time, if I'm 45, 50, that you get a little more antsy to do it. But at 38, I'm not sitting here saying I got to go today in order just to take one to take it. There's so many guys I've seen careers, and I've met these coaches that mentored me, Joe Kynes, Kevin Steele, and every one of them says, don't just jump at the first one. Because if you get the wrong one, it'll be the last one.
Coach Rick, great example.
That's right, great example. Very patient and did the right way.
There you go. Of course, when you make over $1 million a year, that helps you be content as well. All right, let's talk football. His concern this year, the secondary. Here's what he said about some of those young guys that are, thankfully, already on campus.
Well, we're hoping to get better, but it's hard. We got 2 incoming freshmen that are really highly rated, and they're both there this summer, working out really hard. They're track guys. They're nationally ranked. One of them's got the fastest in the world, 18 and under 300-meter hurdles. The Marlon Humphrey kid, who's Bobby's son. And then also Tony Brown. So we got 2 really talented guys there. We hope that helps, but you start counting on freshmen, you'll be right back in trouble again. So we're hoping to shore up some things. We lost 2 really good safeties, Vinny Sinceri and Clinton Dix, but we got 3 senior safeties and a kid named Landon Collins that may be one of the best guys in the draft next year.
Landon Collins is my sports intern, by the way, so I'm a little biased, but I think he's one of the best, too. All right, Rodney, let's talk Kirby Smart and Alabama defense. Last year, certainly they did some good things, but there were some times when they didn't look like Alabama. A&M, Manziel torched them. They couldn't hold the late lead against Auburn, against Oklahoma, all kinds of problems. It just didn't seem like a Kirby Smart, Nick Saban defense at times. Can Alabama bounce back and get back to maybe a 2011, 2009 type level this season?
Well, yeah, they could. I think so. But, you know, you look at last year, Gary, and I mean, they were playing a lot of young players. You look at the corner, they had lost Dee Milner, their top guy. Deion Blue was kind of banged up throughout the early part of the season. So they were really kind of short-handed defensively. They were playing young guys. You remember Ashawn Robinson was probably their most productive defensive lineman, at least in terms of sacks, tackles for losses, those types of things. They had lost Jesse Williams. They lost Damian Square, lost a lot of leadership. And, you know, Gary, again, I think when you look at them this year, they've got a lot of really talented players up front. This has a chance to be a really good defensive front. You know, you look at guys like DJ Petway, even though he's a junior college transfer, he's been here, he's played on this level. Jaron Reed, Ashawn Robinson back, you know, after a fabulous freshman year. You know, a lot of really talented guys up front. I'm anxious to see guys like Jonathan Allen, how much he's improved since his freshman year. Well, he was really good last year. And Dalvin Tomlinson, a guy that we, you know, didn't get to see much of last year with a lot of expectation, went down early before the Texas A&M game with the injury. You know, I think one of the questions is, you know, how are they going to be at inside linebacker? You've got DePriest back, obviously. He'll bring some leadership. How is Reggie Ragland and Reuben Foster going to fill in with the departure of C.J. Mosley? You look at the corners, again, I think right now they have some guys. He mentioned some of the young guys, Tony Brown, Marlon Humphrey, but You know, you look at Cyrus Quanjo, you look at Bradley Sylvie, Maurice Smith. You know, those are just a few of the guys that certainly have an opportunity to win those spots. And you know, if that all comes together, I think this defense has a chance to be really, really good, because I think the pass rush is going to be much better too, and I think they're going to be faster. And I really think that some of the young guys are going to lend some things to it. When I talk about young, I'm talking about a guy like Rashawn Evans maybe. Also, we mentioned DJ Petway, that pass rush and their athleticism I think is really going to help the defense.
All right, nice stuff, Rodney. We'll be analyzing it a lot all the way up until that first game against West Virginia. Well, a couple of players who he coached, Smart did at Alabama, that went on to the next level. We're back in the state this weekend holding football youth camp. Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Dre Kirkpatrick hosted his camp at Gadsden City High School, his hometown, on Saturday. The third-year pro discussed his friend and new teammate, A.J. McCarron, and how he thinks A.J. is going to fit into the Bengals and the NFL.
I feel like he can push Andy. I feel like he got a great chance of pushing Andy. As long as he stay focused, stay consistent, and just know his job and know his role, and he'll be all right.
And another member of that great 2011 defense, Courtney Upshaw. He was in Eufaula, his hometown, hosting his youth camp. He'll also play this year with a former Crimson Tide teammate, C.J. Mosley. Courtney said he was excited when he heard C.J.'s name called by the Ravens.
It was a great pickup. You know, whenever, you know, you can pick up a great player like C.J., you know, not only that he played at Alabama, you know, just knowing that he's a great athlete and a great player, and to see some of the things he did on the field, I know he can bring it to the Ravens, and we can be a great team with him.
All right, another former Alabama linebacker in the news again, and this is, in fact, before we get to Orlando, this is C.J. tweeting out a picture of himself at the NFL Rookie Symposium with the bust of the late, great Derek Thomas. How about that? All right, now on to Orlando McClain. I mean, does this guy flip a coin? Heads, I'm retired. Tails, I'm coming back. He is making a comeback again, but a chance to play for the Cowboys. It's reported this afternoon that he's been traded by the Ravens to the Cowboys. He'll make a comeback. Dallas is looking for help after Sean Lee got hurt. So maybe this will be the time that Orlando is back in sticks, and he's got a lot of ability. We're pulling for him, but you got to feel it now. It's now or never for Orlando McClain. All right, more Tider Insider TV is coming up, including Anthony Grant's reaction to his influx of transfers. But next, we take a page right off TiderInsider.com forums. What is Alabama's biggest concern for 2014? A couple of them, in fact, Rodney. They've been discussing it on the board. We'll discuss it next. And coming up, we'll also be welcoming your phone calls and your emails, as well as your tweets. There's the information on how you can get in touch with us. Jot it down. We want to hear from you. This is the show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide, the award-winning Tider Insider TV. United.
Go inside the Crimson Tide. Tider Insider TV with Rodney Orr and Carrie Harris.
Trevor Relaford wasn't drafted by the NBA last Thursday night, but he'll have a chance to earn a spot in the league. By way of the Summer League, the former Crimson Tide point guard was signed by the Atlanta Hawks. He leaves for Las Vegas in Summer League action on July the 9th. Trevor's former coach, Anthony Grant, was on the SEC basketball teleconference earlier this week, Rodney, discussing the upcoming season. And the Crimson Tide head coach was very open about his new group of players. That includes 3 transfers and 4 signees. He says that it's exciting to have the new blood in the program, and these guys are talented. But he reminds people they haven't proven anything yet.
I'm really excited about what these guys bring. You know, we had like I said, you know, seven new guys, 2 of them transfers that set out last year that will be eligible this year, and I think certainly will make our team, I think, you know, obviously deeper, more skilled. So I'm excited about it, but there's a process that you have to go through, a commitment that you have to have on a day-to-day basis to continue to improve and do the things that will be necessary to compete at the level we need to compete.
Replacing Trevor Relaford, a huge key for Coach Grant this season, and somebody's going to have to step up and fill that 18.5 points plus the assists, the steals. He did a lot of things, Rodney. Well, we're just 13 days away from SEC Media Days in Hoover. Tonight, we've stolen a discussion straight from the online forum at TiderInsider.com. You ready?
That's dangerous.
You never know what it's going to be. No, this is a good one. Rodney, you actually posed this question to your subscribers. What is your biggest concern for this year? And the top 2 responses, B.J. Milliken actually added them up. were the kicking game and the offensive line, not the secondary. So, Rodney, let's start talking about the kicking game. You've got to replace the punter and the place kicker, plus some very good coverage guys. Cade Foster, number 43, had a great year last year until the Auburn game, but still, where does Alabama turn for help in the kicking game, replacing a couple specialists?
Well, I think when you look at country, Gary, but he's also was a pretty good place kicker, so he'll might get a look there as well, compete with Adam Griffith for that spot. But I think when you look at those two guys right now, if you said maybe there's odds-on favorite, at least from our perspective, what we know of it, I would say maybe those two guys are certainly it. Another
area that most of your readers have concerns about on TiderInsider.com, the offensive line. Much like the secondary, last year really good at times, at other times not so much. Mario Cristobal has a couple key guys to replace. Got some experienced talent returning, but also going to have some new guys in there. Yeah, and he's caught a lot of maybe heat. I don't want to really say it's been that significant, but people have to remember last year you lost 3 of the greatest offensive linemen in the history of school. When you're talking about Chance Warmack, Barrett Jones, and DJ Fluker, I mean, you lose those 3 guys, there's going to be some drop off. I mean, you've got to expect that. I think he did a really good job last year, kind of getting those guys all to play together. And I think this year now they've had an opportunity to develop some guys, and they've got some young talent. They do have to replace Cyrus Kwanjo at left tackle. It looks like Cameron Robinson, the true freshman, given that he came in spring, got an opportunity to really get acclimated to things. Gary's probably the front runner at that spot now. Well, he definitely is the front runner unless he loses it in fall camp. Then you look at right guard. Leon Brown played there in the Sugar Bowl. Did a pretty admirable job given the circumstances. But, who's going to secure that job? Will Dominic Jackson, the junior college player who's come in now this summer, will he win that spot, or will somebody else? Grant Hill's another guy to really kind of keep an eye on, the freshman from Huntsville last year. So, I think they have the tools there on the offensive line. They have the pieces. It's just a matter of getting all of them to mesh together. It's all Chad Lindsey. It would have been nice to have him back. It really would have been good to have Chad Lindsey with his experience as a backup center. Now you've got Ryan Kelly. You really don't have any experience behind him. Yeah, that graduation rule, I like it, but we have to, I think, take a look at that at some point. I'll say this: it's worked well with Jacob Coker. Yeah, I mean, that's right. Alabama, sometimes you benefit, sometimes you don't. But we'll see what happens with Jacob Coker, and we'll see what happens with Chad Lindsey as he's moved on. All right, Tider Insider TV will return with more, including a major award for a member of Alabama's gymnastics team. I mean, this is a big one. And next, we'll be welcoming your phone calls, emails, and tweets. Again, the information on how you can reach us, 205-348-WVUA. That's 348-9882. Email us, TITV@WVUATV.com, or reach us on Twitter, #TiderInsiderTV. But we'll be right back with more Tider Insider Television after this. She won individual NCAA championships and led her team to national titles and SEC titles. And now, look at this big trophy that Kim Jacob has. She took home the Honda Award last night in Los Angeles as the nation's Women's Sport Athlete of the Year. Think about that. The Women's Athlete of the Year for all sports. She was an 11-time All-American in her career with the Crimson Tide. She's only the 3rd gymnast to win this. Congratulations to Kim Jacob on a star-studded career. All right, let's head to the Med Center hotline, Rodney, and take some phone calls. First up tonight is John in Cordova. John, welcome into the program. How are you? I'm doing good. Good. My question is, who's going to replace our kicker, and who's looking good for the quarterback, and when is SEC Media Day? All right, thanks, John. I'll handle the media days. They start 2 weeks from yesterday, so 13 days from now. Kickers you covered, so real quick on that one, Rodney, spend most of your time talking about the quarterbacks. Yeah, again, we mentioned Adam Griffith, the place kicker, J.K. Scott, the punter. Those guys probably your 2 leading candidates there, John. When you talk about quarterback spot, of course, there's Jacob Coker, Blake Sims, Cooper Bateman, Alec Morris, David Cornwell's a freshman. If you had to lay the odds, you'd probably say it's going to be either Sims or Coker, probably Coker if you just want to make a guess. Again, I realize that they have to go through fall camp, but I think Jacob Coker has a great shot to win that job, but I do think Blake Sims, if he doesn't win the job, will still have a role. John, the exact date on the SEC Media Day is July 14th, if you want to mark the date. All right, thanks for the phone call. Let's visit with our buddy Plato in Panorama. Plato, what's up?
Hey, guys. Good evening. Each year that Coach Saban has been in Alabama, he's either brought new facilities or improved facilities online for the football program. Do you guys know what maybe scheduled for this year or in upcoming years in terms of facility improvement?
You know, Plato, I really don't. You're right. There's been a lot of projects that are almost ongoing because it's in this day and age in collegiate athletics. You're either going, you're either moving ahead or you're standing still. There's no way to catch up if you get behind. But, I think right now they're in pretty good shape. I can't think of anything. They're redoing the sod at Bryant-Denny Stadium. They're redoing the sod on the practice fields, getting ready for the fall. But I'm sure if anything is needed, Nick Saban will be on top of it.
Well, talking to prospects, Gary, that visit all these facilities, I mean, I'm talking about the best of the best, Ohio State, USC, whatever the program might be, some of the top programs in the country, Florida, whatever. I think that, they tell me that these facilities here are simply second to none, Gary. They're state of the art as they are. I'm sure, there's some things that probably, might need upgrading here before too long. But, again, I think when you look at Alabama, their facilities now, second to none.
All right, let's get to an email. And this one comes to us from Jim in Panama City, Florida. Do UA coaches put together highlight tapes of the players for NFL teams? Well, Jim, the scouting departments that these teams have in the National Football League are so extensive, they don't really need a highlight tape per se. But I will tell you this, Nick Saban, the coaching staff, the support staff at the University of Alabama do all that they can, everything that's needed by the NFL to give Alabama players opportunity at the next level, whatever that is.
No doubt. They're fully cooperative, Gary, and certainly provide their players every opportunity for the exposure to NFL scouts. And I think you see NFL scouts, NFL people on the sidelines quite a bit at practices when we're in there. I think, continuously see scouts around evaluating players. So, again, I think the Alabama players get as much and more exposure and more help in that regard than as anyone.
Absolutely, and usually 2 pro days, not just 1, but 2. And some of those players, even if they weren't big stars and didn't play a lot, have a chance on those pro days to get right in front of a huge contingent of scouts and coaches.
And you even have some former players, recent former players. Marquise Mays has been here recently, and some other former players that come in and participate in those pro days.
And it doesn't stop there. A lot of times Nick Saban will give a player from Stillman or the University of West Alabama an opportunity to come up and work out at Alabama's pro day for the scouts as well. So they do a great job getting guys an opportunity at the next level. Well, more TITV is coming up. Next, another member of Alabama's baseball team is moving on to the professional ranks. We'll have the details and more of your phone calls, emails, and tweets. Again, the information is on the screen on how you can get in touch with us. So go ahead and do exactly that. We want to hear from you. We'll be back after this. When Alabama outfielder and catcher Ben Moore signed with the Red Sox last week, he became the 3rd Crimson Tide junior to forego his eligibility for the leap to the next level. The Coleman native will receive a $152,000 signing bonus. So good luck to Ben Moore, moving on from Alabama to pro baseball. All right, let's jump right back on the Med Center hotline. Rodney and talk with Billy and Coleman. Hey, Billy, welcome into the program.
Hey, Gary, I'd like for you and Rodney maybe give a quick update or a little talk about Bo Scarborough, the running back that's coming.
Right, what's the latest? Any news on whether Scarborough's going to make it?
Well, I think, we have to wait. Should hear something before too long. Again, he was taking some online classes, I think. He also recently took the ACT, so we're just going to kind of have to wait on the results. And I think he wanted us to maybe talk about him a little bit as a player, Gary. I think, obviously he's very talented. I mean, when you watch the Under Armour All-American practices last year, there wasn't a better athlete on the field. So, Bo Scarborough's very talented, could play several spots.
The thing about Scarborough that I remember is when he was in the 9th grade at Northridge, Rodney. And, every now and then you and I see this when you see a kid in the 9th grade and you just say, he's going to play at the next level.
He
was a man in the 9th grade. All right, let's go to Oakman and talk with Ron. Hey, Ron, how are you?
Yeah, who do you think is going to be the best linebacker for the 2014 season to replace Mosley?
Well, I don't know that you really can replace C.J. Mosley. I think when you look at it, obviously this is Trey DePriest's opportunity. He really has to step up. He's a senior. He's been playing quite a bit since he's been a freshman. So, I think big things are expected from Trey DePriest in terms of the leadership. I think when you look at the other opportunities there, you've got Reggie Ragland inside, who I thought really had a good spring, certainly showed up a lot in the 8A game. Obviously, Reuben Foster, if he can stay healthy, I think he's got, a lot of potential, Gary. Again, he was rated as highly as any linebacker probably Alabama signed in many years, and it's just a matter of him staying healthy, I think. And obviously they have some guys outside that I think can contribute. I tell you, one of the young guys inside too, Sean Dion Hamilton from Montgomery, I think he's a future standout player.
All right, thanks for the phone calls and the emails. When TITV returns, we'll show you how you can make the World Cup have a college football flavor. And don't forget, if you missed any of the show, you can catch the replay at 10:30 tonight, and we'll have it on our website as well. Stay tuned. Tider Insider TV. We'll be back after this.
We're lucky, all right, that we have another opportunity, another opportunity to succeed. All right, and how we sort of take advantage of those opportunities, determines what kind of team we are. All right, today we didn't play, all right, we didn't play to our advantage.
That's not Nick Saban, but I tell you what, it's a doggone good impression. Mike Romano doing Nick Saban talking about the U.S. team's soccer loss to Germany. I tell you what, he's got a future as an impersonator. All right, thanks to B.J. Milligan, our producer, Rodney, my co-host, all the people that make this show in Georgia. He was a rival on the field to Alabama, but everybody on both sides or anybody you talk to that ever came across this young man said he was a class act. He will be missed. He was only 23 years old.